this is the second part. It's more math, I guess. I don't know, let's start. So rewriting. Basically we are going, I mean, Claudia, I think that Claudia talked about simplifying. So as you can see, and now basically it's going to make your life easier with Maple and everything. Also, we have this banger code. You can find the common factor from, for example, we have this function right here. And by using factor, it's going to give us the common factor. And also, yeah, it makes it easier to just find the roots of the equation way faster. Now, if we have a function like this and we want to expand it, we use expand. It's going to make, okay, so this one in here, like
go up.
Yeah, sure. Where exactly?
Up to the start.
Yes. If you guys have questions, just unmute yourself and just ask. So basically, all of the rewriting is just some basic Maple commands that are just going to do easy things for you. Is it okay if I go down now?
Yes.
Nice. So basically, expand is going to expand, and simplify is going to simplify, and the factor is going to take out your common factor out of the equation. Evolve, it's where you're going to have like the decimals. For example, you have here a fraction, but you're not satisfied with it. Yes, Ben?
If you do eval and then a percentage sign, what happens?
Percentage? You can try.
No, it evolves the previous thing.
Oh yeah, okay. So basically, try to do what Ben said in here, and
do eval parentheses and then
yeah.
percent sign.
So how Ben said, if you don't want to rewrite your equation, if you have a big one, you don't want to copy paste it, or you didn't define it with a letter or something, just use the percent sign and you're going to get it right away. But if you have more things that you want to like evaluate or something, just make sure you define them. Okay. Here you can see the difference between writing pi with the small letter, and if you're writing capital letter, you're actually going to get the entire number. So basically use pi if you want to use a symbol. If you don't want to take it from the palettes in here, okay, from here you can just write it like this. But if you want the number, you write with capital letter like this. And also, if you want to like evaluate it. You write it. And you're going to get the shortcut of it. Okay.
So basically, the square bracket here with 3 means that there's 3 significant digits in the number. If you use 5, then you'll get 5 digits, etc.
Nice.
What does eval if mean?
Evaluate using floating point. It's a shortcut basically of the.
But what does it do?
How I said, for example, get a fraction, and Maple by default is not going to calculate your fraction. So if you need to state, for example, in a test or something, your answer with decimals, they don't want the fraction and they want decimals or whatever, you're going to use evolve to get the decimals out of it.
Sure.
Subs. It's another command. For example, we get this function here. So this is probably really good when you're solving an exercise that has multiple points. And for example, in the, I don't know, in the question, in the problem, it states that you are given a function. And then the first question says that we consider, for example, A, we consider it, they give us a value for it. And if you don't want to change everything, you could just like use subs, and you need to specify in here that the value that you want to replace, the variable with the value, and where you want it where you want to replace it. And here's it. Moving on, plots and curves. These are going to be a really big part of Maple, and like this is going to help you guys so much, even for I don't know, for your math project that you are going to have in your second semester. We're going to start with 2D plots. So obviously you need to define a function. And here you have the basic command for a plot. And you get it here. And then here you have the, you want to define it on like, I need help because like I can't remember the word for this when you set the x to the.
Oh, you mean the limits?
Yes, yeah, the limits. And this is how you set the limits. And
you can also like write after that comma y equals and the limits,
yeah,
if you want some more specific data.
For example, here we just have the x. We can add the y. And you can play with plots a lot, and it's really good if you do it because how I've said, in your homeworks you're going to come across the plotting exercises where you just need to plot a lot of, like probably 40% of the times you're going to have plots at a point or another. Okay, obviously the question mark, and here you have more about plots in general and how to, for example, colors, captation, background. So here is going to be a more detailed plot. As you can see, they have a lot of options that based on what you have to do, you set it. Most of the times you do need to put the question mark, especially at the beginning. Now we want
What
to.
options do you have for line style?
Sorry?
What options do you have for line style other than what does it say? Space dash.
Like dots, and you'll see all of them if you type in question mark and plot options.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see
dot,
everything.
Dash, dash, dot, long dash, space dash, and space dot. But if you just look up line styles in Maple, you can see all the different ones.
Okay. So
now we have this function in here, and we so when you have, for example, 2 functions or 3 functions, and you need to add them together in a graph, what you do is first you need to make the graph for each of them individually, and then with display command you're going to add them both, and they're just going to merge together, and you're going to get this beauty in here. And obviously options to make your plots, I don't know, limits or like whatever you need to put in. And as you can see, this is the basic one, and then we add the limits of the graph, so it changes a bit. The now 3D plots, defining the equations, and now we have this one in here. Remember, if you want to plot something 3D, you need to state that it's going to be 3D in here. You can see the difference. We have plot 3D, and then the simple plot is just plot. Another cool thing, and it's as you guys know, after you finish your homework in Maple, you need to convert it in PDF file. Make sure that if you have a graph, especially if it's a 3D graph, you can move it however you want to. For example, you can have minimum and maximum points on it, and make sure that they're always visible. So before you compile your Maple document to PDF, make sure that your points, the points that the teacher wants to see in your graph, are going to be visible. Because otherwise they're just going to consider that you didn't do it or you didn't show it, so minus points. Here as well, for example, like if you have for example, if you do have a function like this and you do get a graph like this, don't let it like just to see just the side. Try to make it, try to play with it to get the best view. Now adding points. For example, we have here is a matrix. This is how you write a matrix in Maple, and we have the points that and here you can see other options. So make sure that when you plot, just go through the Maple options and see what you can do, and to make sure that you're going to make a really nice graph and plot. Also, you got plot tools, and if you want to plot a sphere, as I said, you can just go to options in plots and see what you can do, because no one knows them by heart. It's pretty hardcore to know them by heart. And obviously display. Also, probably I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you're doing plots, make sure that when you restart, you mention that you're going to use plots, because otherwise you're not here. Basically, you're stating that you're restarting and you're doing plots, and yeah. Also, if you want to see what the tool plots does, you can just like delete the semicolon and just do this, and here you can see what commands you have in Maple for plots. Okay. Same, merging the plots together.
What code are you having trouble with?
What?
Someone in the chat having trouble with the code. Or the activation code. When you have to copy the one from like the website, it's in the D2 download section. And make sure you copy the one for like the right year. I think there's different ones. Huh. Try again. I mean, like one of my Rust when I was doing it in arcade group, couldn't download it. Just try copying the whole thing.
Okay. Something bad happened. Just a sec. Nice. So you can, for example, you might have exercises where you need to point out the points. So the best way it's just merge the plots together and make sure you make it visible for the teacher. Also here, when you have free coordinates, it's in the menu bar, you can set the orientation, like, and if I can make it this bigger. Okay. Nice. So for example, if I click on this one, you can set it in here and we can play with them. fuck. See, you can just without moving it by hand, you can do it automatically by setting it up in here. And the special plots, I don't really know what to say more about this because they're just some comments that you're going to learn them while using them, like, I don't know, homeworks, exercises.
Will you put this document somewhere?
The documents are already on the Facebook group. I uploaded them the day we were supposed to have the physical online, the physical Maple event. And yeah, all the comments there might be irrelevant now. So I guess we could speed up a bit because we don't want to be too late with that. But yeah, basically you learn it sooner or later that working with Maple is mostly Googling shit and trying to understand what you Google.
Yeah, that's how I feel like, because I'm not gonna remember this.
No.
No. It's not the point, and you will have the files. There are already on the group. It's just that you get familiar with Maple more or less before your first assignment.
Yes. It's what you guys are going to use probably the most. So when you're going, for example, when you're going to start doing your homework, please put with linear algebra. It's going to be really useful since it has all the codes and specifications for matrix equations, vectors. So yeah. Here is how you set up a vector. You have here you're going to have the vertical position of it. So also, like in Maple TA, try to make sure you know how to make the vectors, because it can fuck it up really bad with your here's how you do matrices. And getting the elements is kind of like programming and getting like indexing them. For vector 2, you need the second element, which is 4, and so on and so forth with everything. Here you get from the matrix, you get the array, the last column. And this is going to be really useful when you don't want to spend a lot of time in your assignment setting up a matrix like this. Keep in mind that you can just type in the equation and then the code generate matrix, and here's it. And if you have multiple vectors that you need to make a matrix with, define them, and then you use it like this. Then the basic operation between the matrices. Then the determinant. So as you can see, maple is really useful. Instead of doing it by hand on paper, messing up some operate, I don't know, plus or minus or whatever, you just do it with maple. Okay, and when you're going to have matrix product, remember that you need to use the dot. Use this, not this. This, no, this is bad. This is going to fuck it up. As you can see, we have the transpose for the matrix, the inverse, the rank, which is going to be useful. System of equations. And I'm just going to go fast through them because I don't think you guys are doing this right now. And you can always go back and see what happened. Oh, and linear solve, it's also really useful, as you can see. Also here, when you have the free parameter, this is, I loved this one because you're going to see it's going to be really hard to do the reduce row echelon form by hand. It's going to take a lot. So this is really going to help you. You can also use units, especially if you're planning to use a maple for physics as well, or chemistry. So you can see here. And yeah. Here are some other commands or options, settings that you can just add. For example, the palettes are really useful because you don't need to just, for example, in expressions, you don't need to like write everything down. You just need to substitute their variables with what you have. Also, this one for integrals, instead of typing int and other options for your limits, use the palette. And here you can see all the shortcuts. It's just going to make you go faster through your assignment, or like just typing. And the layouts. Here you can, like how Claudia said earlier on the first part, if you want to define it like really nicely, use commas. Here you see, like, instead of writing alpha or beta, you can just go add the Greek palette if you don't have it, and you can just find everything in here. And how to, this is probably going to be really important, how to save this PDF. You go in File, you go to, after you save it, you go to Export As, and in here you type in what you want to call it. And here you can see that you can export it in like PDF, LaTeX, and yeah. This was it. Now we do have some assignments